Hello everyone, you are welcome back to Western's tutorial. Today we will cover 50 MCQs on Henry Fielding. First question for you. Okay, let me tell you, just close your eyes, listen to the questions and try to answer. जब आप प्रैक्टिस कर रहे होंगे, जैसे अपने हेनरी फील्डिंग का वर्क हमने कल पढ़ा था और आप लोगों ने स्टडी भी कर लिया होगा, ठीक है। ग्रुप में मैंने आप लोगों को PDF भी दे दी थी। तो अगर आपने पढ़ लिया है तो अब आपको, क्योंकि इसमें आंसर आपके सामने रखे हुए हैं, तो आप ये वाली ट्रिक यूज कर सकते हैं और इससे एक बेनिफिट आपको ये भी मिलेगा कि एक तो आप स्क्रीन टाइम से बचेंगे, दूसरा जो आपका फोकस है स्टडी का, और रिलैक्सेशन भी मिलेगा आपको। जैसे ना आप रिलैक्स फील करेंगे कि आपने बुक स्टडी की है कोई चीज़, आप अपना फ़ोन अपने आसपास रखिए, स्पीकर पे रखिए, ठीक है। और फिर मैं क्वेश्चंस रीड करूँगा और आपको पहले तो डायरेक्ट आंसर सोचना है, और अगर आंसर नहीं आता है तो मैं आपको एमसीक्यूज़ भी पढ़ के बताता हूँ, और फिर आप कोशिश करना आंसर्स, ठीक है। उसके बाद मैं आंसर्स आप लोगों को बताऊँगा। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन आप लोगों को आराम से सुनिए और ट्राई टू आंसर। Henry Fielding is the best known as the founder of which tradition in English literature? Romantic poetry, Gothic fiction, realistic novel, modernist prose. C is the answer, realistic novel. Henry Fielding's masterpiece, Tom Jones, was published in 42, 49, 51, 37. B is the answer, 49. Joseph Andrew is a parody response to which novel? Pamela, Clarissa, Robinson Crusoe, Gulliver's Travels. A is the answer, Pamela. Which work of Fielding satirizes Pamela even more sharply? Amelia, Shamila, Jonathan Wild, Pasquin. B is the answer, Shamila. Joseph Andrews belongs to which genre? Gothic, epic, comic epic in prose, stream of consciousness, historical romance. B is the answer, comic epic in prose. Who is the moral center in Joseph Andrews? Joseph, Lady Booby, Parson Adams, Fanny. C is the answer, Parson Adams. Which of the following is a full-length novel by Fielding? Pamela, Clarissa, Amelia, Tristram Shandy. C is the answer, Amelia. Which novel by Fielding is considered a domestic novel? Shamila, Tom Jones, Amelia, Jonathan Wild. C is the answer, Amelia. Tom Jones is divided into 5 books, 8 books, 18 books, or 24 books. C is the answer, 18 books. Who is the heroine of Tom Jones? Amelia, Sophia Weston, Fanny Goodwill, Letitia. B is the answer, Sophia Weston. Who is the hypocritical villain in Tom Jones? Partridge, Squire Weston, Mr. Allworthy, Blifil. D. Blifil is the answer. Mr. Allworthy in Tom Jones symbolizes greed, corruption, benevolence, hypocrisy. C is the answer, benevolence. Jonathan Wild is a satire on criminal heroism, Gothic horror, religious hypocrisy, romantic love. A is the answer, criminal heroism. The real historical figure behind Jonathan Wild is Jonathan Edward, Jonathan Swift, Jonathan Wild, or Jonathan Smith. C is the answer, Jonathan Wild. And he was thief taker Jonathan Wild. Fielding's narrative technique is unreliable narrator, intrusive omniscient narrator, limited points of view, stream of consciousness. B is the answer, intrusive omniscient narrator. What forced Fielding to stop writing plays? Illness, Licensing Act of 1737, poverty, or war? B is the answer, Licensing Act of 1737. Which play of Fielding contributed directly to the Licensing Act? Tom Jones, Pasquin, The Author's Farce, The Tragedy of Tragedies. B is the answer, Pasquin. Okay. Next one is the term picaresque refers to a story about ghost, a journey based tale with episodic adventures, an epic poem, a psychological novel. B is the answer, a journey based tale with episodic adventures. Which novel ends with discovery of Tom's novel birth? Amelia, Jonathan Wild, Tom Jones, Shamila. C is the answer. The foundling Tom learns his true parentage. Fielding's early career was mainly in journalism, drama, theology, or medicine. B is the answer, drama. Who is Fielding's idol for religious goodness? Portrays, Adams, Booth, or Belfield? B is the answer, Adams. Fielding inspired which character? Sophia, Amelia, Fanny, or Molly? B is the answer, Amelia. Amelia focuses heavily on which issue? Witchcraft, domestic life, war, or B is the answer, domestic life. Which work is a mock autobiography? Joseph Andrews, Shamila, Amelia, Tom Jones. B is the answer, Shamila. Who accompanies Tom on the road? Parson Adams, Partridge, Swift, Squire Allworthy. B is the answer, Partridge. Who is Lady Booby? Tom's aunt, villain in Amelia, employer who desires Joseph, Sophia's mother. C is the answer, employer who desires Joseph. Which book criticized prisons and legal system? Jonathan Wild, Amelia, Tom Jones, The Author's Farce. B is the answer, Amelia. Which was Fielding's first novel length work? Joseph Andrew, Amelia, Tom Jones, Jonathan Wild. A is the answer, Joseph Andrews. The comic servant I's view of society is prominent in Amelia, Tom Jones, Shamila, all of the above. B is the answer, Tom Jones. Comic epic in prose was defined by Swift, Dafoe, Fieldings, or Richardson. C is the answer, Fielding. The term intrusive narrator means narrator stays silent, narrator directly talks to reader and comments, narrator is unreliable, narrator is part of the story. B is the answer, narrator directly talks to readers and comments. Who is heart-free? A thief, a saint, a virtuous man in Jonathan Wild, a clergyman, a virtuous man in Jonathan Wild. Fielding's satirical tone is mostly bitter, mild and humorous, romantic, or tragic. B is the answer, mild and humorous. Who is the companion of Joseph on the road? Partridge, Adams, Squire Weston, Booth. B is the answer, Adams. Which novel attacks the idea of virtue rewarded? Joseph Andrews, Tom Jones, Shamila, or Jonathan Wild? C is the answer, Shamila. Squire Weston is famous for hatred of women, love of drinking and hunting, speaking French, being a priest. B is the answer, love of drinking and hunting. Central theme of Tom Jones is supernatural fear, Puritan morality, human nature and morality, and war. C is the answer, human nature and morality. Partridge is a teacher, a barber surgeon, a thief, a judge. B is the answer, a barber surgeon. Fielding is Fielding's prose is notable for shorthand, irony and humor, dense symbolism, stream of consciousness. B is the answer, irony and humor. Which character is known for false piety? Parson Adam, Blifil, Tom, or Partridge? B is the answer, Blifil. Which of his novels is more sentimental and serious? Tom Jones, Joseph Andrews, Amelia, or Samila? C is the answer, Amelia. Fielding contributed to policing by helping create CIA, Scotland Yard, Bow Street Runner, or M16. C is the answer, Bow Street Runners. Fielding's plots are known for no structure, tight unity and balance, fragmentation, no character development. B is the answer, tight unity and balance. Which theme is common across all his novels? Hypocrisy, supernatural, feminism, science fiction. A is the answer, hypocrisy. Tom Jones was raised by Adams, Squire Weston, Squire Allworthy, Partridge. C is the answer, Squire Allworthy. Which novel begins with prison scene? Amelia, Joseph Andrew, Shamila, Jonathan Wild. A is the answer, Amelia. Which novel ends with double marriage? Jonathan Wild, Tom Jones, Joseph Andrews, or Shamila? C is the answer, Joseph Andrews. Who is the model for Booth in Amelia? Blifil, Richardson, Fielding himself, Parson Adams. C is the answer, Fielding himself. Which is Fielding's parody of heroic tragedy? Pasquin, Tom Thumb, the author's farce, Jonathan Wild. B is the answer, Tom Thumb. Fielding's criticism of sentimental morality is strongest in Shamila, Amelia, Tom Jones, all of the above. A is the answer, Shamila. So with this, we have finished 50 MCQs. Hopefully it will help you in your exams. और नेक्स्ट राइटर हम चूज करेंगे फर्स्ट डे हम राइटर के बारे में बात करेंगे और सेकंड डे हम एमसीक्यूज़ करेंगे, जिससे आपको डेली बेसिस पे हेल्प मिलती रही प्रिपरेशन के लिए। और पीडीएफ तो आप लोगों के पास ग्रुप में है। तो मिलते हैं अगले वीडियो में, तब तक के लिए गुड बाय, टेक केयर।